Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show for professional entrepreneurs, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants who are ready to elevate their business, expand their influence, and boost their bank accounts. Join us as we dive deep with industry-leading experts who share their top strategies, invaluable insights, practical tips, and personal experiences to help you achieve extraordinary growth and success. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, stay ahead of the curve, or find that competitive edge, this podcast is your ultimate resource for unlocking your full potential. So tune in, get inspired, grab your coffee, and let's unlock the expert in you. I'm your host, Carden, and today I am really excited for my guest. I have with me Barbara Boyd, and she is a book coach. And she helps people write nonfiction and memoirs. And she has also done ghostwriting. She has helped write and collaborated with over 200 books. She's been in the space for years, and she has even authored over a dozen books for Dummies and Complete Idiot Guides and Teach Yourself Visually, those series. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with her. So Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anne. It's great to be here.
Yes, and she is in Italy, and it's in the evening there for her. So I appreciate her getting on here with me. So Barbara, how long have you actually been coaching people on writing books?
Officially, I think about 10 years, but if I look back over my career, it's a role that I've done in an undefined sort of way. A lot of the work collaborations that I've done have been where I've brought in editorial expertise and the other person has been the subject matter expert. And so that's been sort of coaching them through what it's like to publish a book.
And how did you originally get into this? Was that your college education? What happened there that got you into this?
I will try and give you the quick version of this.
The 30-second condensed.
Right, exactly. So I sort of fell into it. I was working in high tech. I was at Apple in the 80s, which is a completely different story. It was fantastic. But then I went into publishing, working at IDG, the magazines that had things like Macworld, PC World. I was at Publish because desktop publishing was a thing then. And so that's how I got into publishing. And little by little, I shifted from magazines into books and collaborated with a subject matter expert for one of the early For Dummies books on Macs and then on iPhones. And it kind of grew from there, making contacts. I had an agent, so she put me in touch with other authors, material experts to collaborate on their books. And at a certain point, I started looking for myself, clients that were coming to me outside of the agented contacts.
Now, do you still do ghostwriting, or is your main business coaching people to write?
I do still ghostwrite. I tend to take on only one project a year.
Okay.
I worked for several years at Scribe Media, what originally was Book in a Box and then was Scribe Media. And I ghostwrote close to 20 books with them, although I was also coaching ghostwriters in that with them. But I prefer just working on one at a time. At one point when I was with Scribe, I had, I think, 13 projects going at once, and it was insane.
Right.
So one at a time, carefully chosen, and one that last year and again this year, I have organized my life so that I can take 3 or 4 months off during the summer. And so the ghostwriting projects need to sort of dovetail with that plan.
So who makes the best client for you, Barbara?
Someone who is willing to kind of put themselves in discussion. That I have a very tough love approach. I've worked with people who are the top of the top in their fields, and yet I'm not one to be starstruck. I mean, if I feel like something's not right, I'm going to say it.
Right.
being critical is not very good in personal relationships. It's great for a book coach. So the client who is willing to say, oh, I hate hearing that, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I understand what you're saying, and this is what I meant to say. So someone who's willing to collaborate and listen to other opinions and then come to the best solution for the reader. Because my goal is not, of course, I want the author to be happy. I want the book to be well done, but I always have the reader in mind.
Right.
And so I'm sort of a proxy for the reader when I'm asking those questions.
No, that's great. So a lot of the people that you work with, are they executives that are wanting to write a book? Are they entrepreneurs? Like, who are they in a particular industry or niche? Who are those
Mostly
people?
entrepreneurs more than executives. I've also had recently women who work in sort of like parenting, pregnancy, child birthing, so that a whole field that I would not have expected to be in, but so they are often therapists or gynecologists or fitness experts, but that sort of, we could put it under the category of women's health, which was not something I sought. It's just sort of happened.
Right. Are they writing those books because they want that credibility and that authority in their market, like to build their business and kind of step up their game? Is that their purpose for writing, or what do you see when people come to you?
So it depends on the age of the person, I think, and how long they've been in it. So several of them are in it because they want to build credibility, expand their audience, get into a position of getting on the speaker circuit, or maybe building some kind of course, or just upping their game. Others are in some ways at the tail end of their career and want to leave a legacy. And so
that's where the memoirs and really come in.
Memoirs, but also very practical books. It is like a way to leave your knowledge behind or pass it on to people who are coming up to continue that work.
That's great. So what is the time frame typically that it takes for you to coach someone to get their book from start to finish, from really the idea out of their head, which I know that you do that. You help them kind of figure that out. But what is the time frame, start to finish, for somebody to do a book and your coaching?
I would say between 10 and 12 months.
Okay. So and I like to say that because people have sometimes unrealistic expectations about the timing. Every time I thought my book was going to be faster than it was. It always took a lot more time than I ever planned it taking.
It does.
Yeah.
And so much of that depends on how much time people can put into it. They think it's going to take less time than it does. And it's also like, this is my business. So I'm setting aside the time that I need on my side for clients. But it's not something just add to everything that you're already doing. Like if you're to write a book, and it's like, okay, what are you going to give up to have the time to do that? Because in many ways, it can kind of be like having a job. And, so that, I talk to people a lot about like, how much time can you dedicate? And that's what can predicate how long it will take to do the work. Because I have a lot of people who like to work on a book proposal and pitch traditional agents and publishers. And so there we can usually get a solid book proposal put together between 4 and 6 months. But that very much depends on them doing the work, doing the thinking about it, the writing. I do a lot of editing on book proposals, but a book proposal can be a 70 to 80 page document. You have sample chapters, you've got an annotated table of contents, a marketing plan, it's a complex, it's a business plan for your book, essentially, convincing somebody to invest in your book. And it takes time. Right.
What kind of an investment should someone expect if they're wanting to write a book and work with a book coach?
For 2 coaching calls a month, and each call has a deadline where someone can submit up to 30 pages, which is a lot. Like if someone's really in the game of writing their book, that's doable. When we're in the early stages, it's nowhere near 30 pages.
Right.
I charge $1,500 a month.
Okay, so it's a monthly fee is how.
I do a monthly fee. I do, some people, and I think because they want a tighter container, I will do a book proposal pack for $15,000. And we do that in about 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
It's intense. It's intense. Writing, putting that all together. And that includes on my end, preparing a pitch program, which is researching agents and independent publishers and guiding them also through the pitch process once the book proposal is prepared.
Now, are they self-publishing or are you doing the publishing for them?
No, people who are self-publishing, I can get them to the point of having a publishable manuscript.
Okay.
But then I suggest people I know who do various levels of service of self-publishing, because some people only need a techie person to prepare the files and to get it up on Amazon, to have a print and ebook version. Other people need somebody who's going to help them with their marketing plan or cover design. So I have a pool of people that I can refer to who offer those kinds of services. And so it depends on the needs of the client.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about. And I hope everyone is listening to this as well. She basically has built resources that she can refer people to that can fill the needs of things that she doesn't do, can really fill in the gaps. And that makes her a really valuable resource. And so many people kind of stay in their own little world and they do their thing, but then you send them off. They have to go find someone to do this, and they have to go find someone to do that. And so they end up getting stuck or going down the wrong path or working with people that they can't trust, or there's so many ways things can go wrong. And so I really want to point this out, because one of the values of working with someone who is established and has been around for a very long time, because I also do this in my business, is we have built partnerships with people that we trust, we vetted, we have used, we know that they're going to deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And you don't have to go out there and try to find the people that can close those gaps for you or help you with all of those other pieces. That's a really important thing to know when you're looking to do something. There might be a lot of people out there that are doing something cheaper, but if you have to go now and get 10 more things done after you work with that person, that doesn't often end up being less expensive. First of all, less of an investment, but often it can be even more costly, because now you're trying to figure all those pieces out yourself and you're trying to vet people, and the chances of you getting great people right out of the gate is going to be very slim. I experienced that. You probably have too, Barbara. And
sure.
So that's why experience does matter. Someone who's been in their field and in their industry for a long time does matter. When you are looking for a book coach, you're looking for someone to help you do something like this that is going to impact your business and other people's lives and things like that. You want to make sure that you're really working with people who have a depth of experience, a depth of knowledge, that background. And people might say that doesn't matter. It absolutely does matter when you are seeking out help and support for what you're looking to do and you're making an investment. Do you agree with that, Barbara?
I do. I mean, I certainly have colleagues who have been in the business for less time and who may charge less. And I know their work, and I'm confident recommending them. If someone says, I really can't afford your fees, then, I can talk about what some of the other options might be. Although, I think as book coaching becomes more of a profession, I think we all need to raise the professionalism and have adequate fees that are adequate to experience, as you're talking about. Obviously, someone who just started yesterday isn't going to have the experience nor charge the prices that I do.
Right.
But I do think that especially in nonfiction, working with entrepreneurs, my clients are people who are used to hiring consultants and mentors and coaches and look for people with experience. They understand the value of that experience.
Yes.
So I do think there's probably someone for everyone, depending on the situation that they're in. But there's, as you're saying, experience does make a difference. The publishing industry in particular is constantly changing.
Yes.
And that's my industry. So I'm keeping my eye on that. I'm talking to agents, I'm talking to publishers, I'm talking to authors and other book coaches. What do you see going on? We're a very open community, and I bring that to my clients. I'm looking at trends in publishing. But recently I've noticed it's like, wow, there are a lot of books based on essays coming out in 2025. What does that say about our attention span? But I think that's true in any business. If you work in an industry, part of it, the thrill of it is knowing the other people in your industry and seeing where it's going. And if you're in a service business, then, how do you support your clients and bring your knowledge to them?
Absolutely. Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement. So what do you see? You mentioned changes, and of course, I've seen the same thing in the business world, right? Helping people and in marketing. What differences are you seeing today? And even with AI coming onto the scene, that's a big one. What is the difference that you're seeing right now in your industry that people should be aware of, but also maybe where you've had to make some shifts?
I think the biggest thing that's changing that sort of divide between self-publishing and traditional publishing. Mm-hmm. And self-publishing used to be sort of seen as a lesser quality or a less expensive or, whatever, just less than traditional publishing. And I think those things are changing. If we look at, the biggest example that came at the end of last year, Taylor Swift essentially self-publishing her book and placing it in Target. And, that's, of course, she has a ready waiting market for it. Right. But she probably could have signed a really sweet deal with any number of traditional publishers and decided not to. And so there are any number of reasons to work with a traditional publisher or self-publish that depend on the situation. A longer conversation than we have today. Right. But I think there's more parity in how those books are perceived than there once was.
Yeah, I totally agree. Has AI impacted things for you as well?
For me, not so far. I'm very resistant to AI. What I encourage authors to do is to use it as a research tool, not as a writing tool.
Right.
I had a client who was writing his book with AI. I could see the difference. It was in the early days of Chat GPT. And all of a sudden he was able to produce all these pages. And it was like, you didn't write this. You could see immediately that it was not his work. And another potential client reached out last year and was very open. He said, I'm using AI to help me write my book. And was just like, I don't think that's the client for me. So I think it has to be used as a tool. My concern, just like from what I've seen, this is my own personal opinion. It's not something that that's out there, but that either you know or you don't know. Like I think AI will probably become good enough that the masses won't necessarily notice the difference. And I think that's unfortunate for people who are creative. And, is there some sort of correlation? I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, like, was the printer, similar like to this, but you still needed to create something and then do it. I worked for a graphic design company for a while, and there were all the tools on the computer to make designs, but most of the designers were still designing by hand and then recreating it with the computer.
Right.
So is AI going to be something like that, where you create it and then again collaborate with AI, ask it to
make it, spice it up, or
like, have I been clear? Have I missed anything? So it remains to be seen how we can best the tool and not let it use us.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. And I do think there can be a place for it in writing. I use it in my business, but it always still has my voice. I still have the idea, or I still have the concept. I still interject. I still change it up. All of those things, I think it's really important. For me, it's a good brain starter. So like if you're maybe stuck, or it's like, oh, I want to create something around this, but I just sort of need to get started. So it's great for things like that. But you have to be really careful with AI, because it still isn't ready for what people give it a lot of credit still, and it's still in very early stages. A good example, I was trying to have it create a graphic image, and it kept spelling realtor wrong, and it kept putting an I, and I kept telling it, you're spelling realtor wrong, change it on this and this. And it was just an image that I was trying to get, and it just never got it right. After 6 or 7 tries, it still was not getting it right, because it had realtor in lots of places, like on a billboard and on a red carpet, and for the image I was trying to do for a PowerPoint. And I never did get it right. It never could get realtor spelled right on everything on that image. And so you have to realize that it still has issues, and there are still problems with it. So use it cautiously. But I do think that there can be a place for it, but it goes back to, what do you want your book to do? How do you want to use that book? All of that is having a good strategy behind what you're doing can determine how to put that book together and the direction that you need to go. So Agreed. How do you get clients, Barbara? You've been doing this a long time.
I have referrals.
All referrals.
Yes. I'm a little bit active on LinkedIn, and everything I look back over the last years, it has been through referrals. And I think quite generous with referrals. I referred just in the last week, I referred 3 people out. My roster is full right now until the fall. And so if someone's willing to wait, it is. If someone's willing to wait, we can talk. But otherwise, it's like, here are a few other book coaches who can probably help you. I have an abundance mindset, so I'm quite happy to help people find other people and meet. And
we can't help everyone. Absolutely. No. So what are your big goals for 2025? One of the things Barbara told me before we got on this show is she was saying, I have my business scheduled in a way that I get to take 3 or 4 months off in the summer. And so that's the best kind of business, right? When it's around your life, and your life is not around your business. So I love that. But what are your big goals for 2025?
I think it's right now, I feel like I'm in a more of the same kind of place. A couple clients who are, one in particular who is pitching her book. She's got a fantastic agent and is pitching, and I would really love to see her get a publisher. We are going ahead and finishing her book. So, it's sort of like a business goal is to complete that cycle, because we've been doing this for a while, and life gets in the way. There've been months of a break and then coming back together. And so I would like to see that happen. I think those are sort of I also have another client from last year who is pitching, who's looking for an agent still.
So do you help them do that, or you just know people that you can refer them to pitch, or?
I can provide them. I reached out to some of the people that I know as sort of precursor, and then they sent their book proposal. But I provided them with, I think they've got about 50 names on a list between agents and independent publishers that they're slowly working through. And so, I think my big hopes for 2025 are probably more for my clients, that I would really love to see them all get placed and see their books in print come 2026.
Sounds great. And any challenges that you foresee for 2025 or that you are having right now that you're looking to overcome?
I think time management is sort of always a thing. Distractions, for me personally, I've eliminated, say, pretty much all except LinkedIn in terms of social media, because it's too much eye candy. Like my Instagram feed is all home and garden. It's like recipes, gardening photos, home decor, and it's just all too pretty to look at. And
yes.
so that I think is the challenge of like, okay, how do I limit the distractions, be more thoughtful in how I spend my time and who I spend my time with. And that's just sort of, I think, in general for most people I talk to.
Yeah. I think that's an ongoing challenge too. Even as things shift in your business or in your life, you now have to, you kind of have to recalibrate things, right? So
yes, because I certainly have gone through those periods in my business of, I need to do this webinar and I need to do this course and I need to do that course. And at a certain point, it's like, okay, I think I've absorbed enough.
Right.
Like, stop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just stop. Like, just don't even subscribe to those anymore. Just get them out of my inbox and just kind of do the work. And then when the next obstacle comes along, or I feel like I need to see what the next new, marketing, networking thing is, then I can dip back into it. But it's, and I think for anybody who's in business, it always feels like I could be doing this better. And so there's this constant sort of hunger and curiosity to look at those things. But at some point, it's like, okay, I kind of feel like I've heard this all, because this kind of sounds the same as what I listened to last week. And so I'm going to just step back and do the work and kind of let everything that I've listened to percolate and do the work.
And I think that's part of the importance, I think, too, of also really knowing the direction you're going and having a goal, because it keeps you on course and you don't go down all the rabbit holes, because there can be a lot of distractions, but does it all make sense for you in your business? And so it takes time away. So you have to always think, is this a good use of my time? And in what way will I use this? And if the answer is yes, and you have a way that you would use that, then that makes sense. But if the answer is no, you're maybe just a learning junkie. There are a lot of those people out there, right? And there's not really going to be any way that's going, at least at this point, that they will be using that or needing that. Then it might be something to put on the back burner and not take action on. And I think that's something everyone has to really define in their business. But to me, that's the reason you have a good goal. You know where you're going, you know the direction, you know the path you're on. And when you identify a gap, I wish I was better in this area, or maybe now that I'm doing this, I feel like there's a gap here, then that's what you want to start seeking more either help or more education on, or so that can help people simplify things as well.
The other thing that happens there for learning junkies is also looking at, oh, look what that person is doing. Maybe I should try that. And again, as you said, you need to know what your goal is and what your business is so that you can make discerning decisions.
Yes.
That works really well for that person, but I don't want to be the, $8 billion book coach or whatever.
Right. Exactly. No, exactly.
That's not me.
Right.
I'm really happy that that's working, but that's not me.
Exactly.
And so, I don't want to have evergreen courses. I'm not interested in me personally in building courses. I have lots of colleagues who do it and it's fantastic. That's not my business model.
Exactly.
And so being clear about that then also helps you choose and eliminate those distractions.
Yes, absolutely. And to know that you can't serve everyone and there are reasons why you serve the people you do. So this has been a great conversation. One thing I did not ask you though, do you coach both group and private, or is it all private, all one-to-one?
It's all one-to-one. I did run a memoir writing retreat, which was group coaching 2 years ago with 2 other book coaching. And it was successful, but we didn't repeat it last year because of just the business model with 3 coaches and costs and travel. I mean, we were having a hard time filling the slots at the rates that we would have needed to ask. I would do group coaching if someone else formed the group. I don't want to be the one to figure it out, but like if somebody's got a writing retreat and they're like, oh, we need somebody, I would gladly go. I like teaching a group and doing that, but I don't personally have an ongoing group. Part of that is going back to time management. Because of being in Italy, most of my clients are in the US. Occasionally I have clients who are in Europe. There's a window of time that I'm willing to have calls and meetings. Right. And so having a group would make that time commitment bigger than I'm willing to do.
Yeah. And I think that's important to know too, the hours that you want to work, and is it going to work with your business model, with all the time zones and all the different changes and things like that. So no, but I think it's important for people to know how you do work and how they can work with you. So this has been a great conversation. Final words or final thought that you want to leave with everyone with?
I think everyone has a book in them if they have that desire to write it. Like I wouldn't be discouraged by feeling, oh, it's already been written, or I don't have anything new to say. I don't think that's true. I think that if there's a burning desire to write a book and you have knowledge to share, go for it.
Go for it. And really the percentage is very small of people that actually do to the people that, what is it? It's something like, it's a really high percentage of people that would love to write a book, like 80% or something, but only 3% actually do it. Low. Yeah. Yes. So, so if you think it's already been done, nobody's going to put a spin on it like you are, and nobody's going to have your voice and all the things that go into a book. So this has been great, Barbara. We will put all of your links and everything in the show notes so people know how to get a hold of you. And I thank you so much for sharing your expertise and being open and honest with us about also your business and how you do business. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Anne. It's been a fun conversation.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and have an amazing day. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.